Okay, so now that you have signed the consent form, we're going to go ahead and do the demographic survey. By the way, did you want a copy of the consent form? You don't have to have one.
No, I don't need it.
Okay, so here's the demographic survey. Again, it's just a bunch of information about your background and some about your household.
You don't have a box for Reformed Catholic.
Maybe just other, I don't know.
Don't go to church.
Did I write the number there? Yes,
Yes.
I did. Okay, cool. And that is individual income. Okay. Thank you. So now you're done with that. We'll just go ahead and begin the interview then. Okay. So have you always lived in Cobb County?
No.
How did you end up here?
For work.
Oh,
I work
okay.
for the U.S. Forest Service as an endangered species specialist. And I work in a regional office, which is in Atlanta, and this area had good schools, and I had kids still at home, so we moved here.
Gotcha. Where did you move from?
Tennessee.
Did you live in Tennessee your whole life?
Oh, no. I started out in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And then West Virginia, and then back to Michigan, then to Ohio, then to South Carolina, then to Tennessee, and now here.
Oh, wow. So, like, pretty much all down the East Coast a bit. Gotcha. Yeah, I did something similar, too. I think I was born in Connecticut, and then we went down to North Carolina and South Carolina and then Georgia. So just, like, down 3 consecutive states till I got here. But, yeah, was there any particular reason that your family moved to Cobb County specifically?
In schools.
Just the schools? Okay.
Well, that, and at the time we moved here, it wasn't developed.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the closest grocery store was the Kroger at Butler Creek. There was nothing at the intersection of Mars Hill Road and Stroudsboro. I used to be able to drive past cows every day when I went to work. So.
Was that something you liked?
Oh, absolutely.
Just like the scenery kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, that's why we bought this house, because it backs up to 20 acres of woods.
Gotcha. So it's not like that anymore?
Oh, the woods are still here, but we've seen what Cobb County looks like.
Yeah.
So.
Wasn't sure about this particular area because I don't live around. I live like 10 or 15 minutes away from here. It's a bit of traffic today at this time, at least.
There's always traffic this time of day.
Yeah. So, do you own this house?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And when would you say approximately you moved to Cobb County?
Cobb County. Okay, 1991.
Okay, cool. And did you always live in this house when you were in Cobb County?
Nope, I lived around the corner in another house.
Oh, okay. So when did you move into the current house?
2004.
Okay. Gotcha. That's interesting that your job kind of relates to environmental, though, so now you'll maybe have an interesting perspective for this. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, we write an article in the Neighborhood Quarterly newsletter, and the last one we wrote on was climate change.
Okay.
Because we were in Alaska and it was 84 degrees in Juneau. So it should have been in the 60s, so yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, well, let's start talking about the solar adoption part of the interview then. So do you have rooftop solar for your home?
No.
Can you tell me a little bit about why you decided not to? Was it a conscious decision?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
If I didn't have shade on the house, I'd have solar panels on the roof.
Oh, gotcha.
But I'm not going to cut the shade down because then I lose all the cooling for the bulk of the year. I mean, I probably have 4 hours of sun from like 10 to 2 when there's no shade on the roof. And
Gotcha.
I'm not cutting my trees down just to put on solar panels. It probably cost me more than I'm saving in air conditioning.
Mm-hmm. Was there any other factors involved in your decision not to get solar?
No.
Just
the fact that I wasn't going to get rid of my trees to do it.
Yeah, gotcha. So the location wasn't great and that there was a lot of shade and you didn't want to cut down your trees for that, which makes sense.
Well, I didn't want to fight with the homeowners association either because they'd probably only let me put them on the back of the house.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And the way the layout of the roof is, it's got 4 sides, so I'm going to have 3 sides that I can't utilize. So. Gotcha.
Would you say that if you had the option then, would you put rooftop solar on your home?
If it didn't have shade, if I didn't have to lose my shade to do it, I would, yeah.
Okay. And tell me why you would or would not want solar on your rooftop.
Oh, if I could, it's going to save me money. It saves the planet. I mean, we're not putting carbon into the atmosphere every time you turn on the thermostat. And that's a biggie. I mean, it doesn't take a rock to get scientists to look around and see what's happening to the planet. So.
Would you say that there would be any reasons that you wouldn't want solar if it was ideal for you to have it?
No, I can't think of any.
Okay. Do you think that there are any non-economic reasons that you or someone else that you know would want solar?
Oh, I know somebody in Arkansas that has a farm that's got a huge solar array, and he's making money selling the electricity back to the grid. So,
gotcha.
I just don't have the space.
Mm-hmm. And so, no, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. Would you call yourself an environmentally conscious person?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so actually before this, I want to just ask you, how would you describe your relationship with the environment? I think you must have an interesting perspective.
Yeah. You asked the question about church. I go outside if I want to connect with my God, because I don't need four walls and somebody telling me what to think. So I'm linked to the environment. And we make conscious decisions and what we do with the effect on the environment. This past year, we had, for our New Year's resolution, was no single-use plastic bags. And there are days where I've literally had to put the groceries back into the cart, put them in my car, because I didn't have a reusable bag and I refused to take plastic. Mm-hmm. And then I was getting upset that the produce plastic, so now we bought probably 30 mesh reusable produce bags. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to decrease the carbon footprint or the plastic footprint as well as carbon. An air conditioning unit died, so we had to replace it. So we replaced that one. We replaced the 30-year-old unit that wasn't dead because it wasn't energy efficient. So.
Gotcha. And I noticed you said we, so are you referring to your family or your wife? Or
Yes.
Everyone? So
absolutely.
Is your whole family then, would you say, environmentally conscious as
they
a
better
whole?
be, or I'll kill them. Yes, yeah, we are.
Okay, gotcha, cool.
No, we don't use any pesticides, and that's why our yard is a lawn full of weeds. We just fertilize the weeds, don't use any pesticides, and keep it mowed. And then the homeowners association does complain because it's green.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay. And you said before the homeowners association would stop you from having solar panels, you think? On the front?
Visible, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you think it would be okay on the back?
Yeah. I mean, they wouldn't let me I'm going to put an addition on the back of the house, and they won't let me put a pod in the driveway.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I had to run a storage unit to store the things that are in the back of the house that's going to be gone in a few weeks. So.
Gotcha.
So I get letters all the time from the yard police because I've got weeds in the yard. And I think they backed off on the weeds and the grass because 2 years ago, they said I needed to kill my weeds, so I did. So then I basically had almost no lawn. Mm-hmm. So then I told them, I'm just going to plant all the flowers. And they didn't want that either because they don't like flowers. And because it's not neat. It's not like you've got all those little meatball hedges. You know, a native wildflower garden isn't neat. So once I told them that, then they stopped complaining about my weeds.
Gotcha. Do you think homeowners associations are a large barrier to things like solar or other things that could be helping?
They are, but I also think they're necessary because there's no telling without them. I mean, you look at this neighborhood and it's 30 years old. And it looks really good for a 30-year-old neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Without the homeowners association, no telling what we would have. So yes, they can be a pain in the ass, but I think there's value.
Okay, gotcha. So I'd like to talk a bit about the rooftop solar adoption in general. So we're going to start doing the maps.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you a pen, and on there, I just want you to label for me where you think people have the most rooftop solar energy on their homes. And if you could draw that for me, label it however you want. You can label it with words, and you can also circle or do whatever you want to label regions.
Okay. So I can just come through Southern California, Southern Arizona, and New Mexico. All right, we can do that. get to Texas, and where's Austin? Probably Austin because that's a blue spot. Portland. Probably Seattle. I'm trying to think of environmentally conscious places. Where have I seen solar? Asheville. There's probably plenty of solar in Florida. I'll just write down all of Florida. I'm guessing there's probably I know there's an initiative around Atlanta to try to get solar installed. When somebody was going to put a big solar array in South Georgia because they were asking about dots and solar panels, but I don't remember where it was going. Somewhere down there.
Who was asking?
Some developer of solar.
Oh, okay.
For a solar company.
Interesting.
Yeah. Denver. They're pretty environmentally conscious. Boise. Never getting too far cold. And, although we get a lot of... Actually, we just spent... I don't know if people would invest in solar in Alaska. You got 24 hours of sunlight. Where's Anchorage? I'll just take a guess that maybe somebody in Anchorage would do solar. Just because we're up there and it never got dark. I'm through guessing.
Okay. So, if you could walk me through some of your reasoning for why you chose the places you did.
Well, a lot of sun in
Southern California,
Arizona, New Mexico, and Florida. The rest of these places, because they have the tendency to be more progressive, environmentally friendly communities: Seattle, Portland, Boise, Denver, Asheville, Austin, Texas. And I know that the city of Atlanta is trying to push a solar initiative.
Okay. Was there a reason? That's interesting because I don't think anyone's done that so far. Was there a reason you just chose the Southern California instead of like the rest of California?
Just more sun.
Okay.
More population center.
Okay.
I suppose I could put Sacramento in there, but yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, so what do you think makes those communities that you labeled so different from people in Cobb County?
They're more environment, specifically not Florida and the southern tier of Arizona, New Mexico, and California, but the specific communities are more progressive, more liberal, more environmentally conscious, and in Cobb County just doesn't have a conscious.
Okay.
When it comes to the environment.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you have anything more to say on the matter?
No, I mean, I was just trying to make an educated guess of where, what do I view as progressive communities, and those are the progressive communities that I can think of.
Gotcha. And you also lived a lot along the East Coast, correct?
Just South Carolina.
Oh, really?
I lived on the coast of South Carolina. It was southern Michigan, southern Ohio, West Virginia, northeast Tennessee. So.
Okay, so like in the places that you lived along there, did you notice more solar or different mindsets of people versus where we live now?
Oh yeah, coal.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because these are coal states, so no one was talking solar, no one was talking wind. And when I lived in South Carolina, there wasn't that was 1985 to 89, and solar wasn't even a thought at that point.
Gotcha. Do you think people had... I forgot what I was going to ask.
It's okay. It'll come back.
I'm just going to ask something different
That's
right
fine.
now.
It'll pop back into your head.
Why do you think, like... It's gone. Do you think the people in the places that you labeled have a different mindset than the people in Cobb County, like, towards solar specifically?
Oh, I think so. I mean, you've got, a whole lot of sun, and the southern tier states, a whole lot of sun for a long period of time. You don't get a lot of cloudy days. So that's, if you think about, it's not just Denver, it's this whole area, Denver, Vail, Aspen. Mm-hmm. They're tied to the environment. And Cobb County is tied to their cars. So, I mean, I think there's a completely different mindset in these areas that I circled than Cobb County when it comes to the environment.
They're just more environmentally progressive?
Well, they're progressive all the way around,
general, yeah.
and politically as well. That's why I only circled Austin. You're not going to find, I don't think you're going to find a bunch of solar panels on some rancher's house in Texas. Mm-hmm. Now, you may find a whole bunch of wind turbines, because there's a lot of wind energy development in Texas. All through here, all through the heartland states, there's a lot of wind energy development, but I don't think there's a whole lot of solar. Okay.
Just because it's not needed there?
Well, I don't think that there's much mindset about solar there. Okay. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah.
I probably am.
Maybe. Okay. Are you done labeling that map?
I am. Okay.
We will move on then to the more specific map of Georgia. Okay. So, it's the same exercise pretty much, so you'll just be labeling where you think people have the most rooftop solar adoption in the state of Georgia. Whether or not it be true. Okay, where you would perceive there to be more.
I would perceive there to be plenty in Athens. It's a progressive community. Probably Savannah. I've already said Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Roswell. I won't lump Marietta in there. I doubt Macon. Oh, where's Milton? It's north of Roswell. I'll just move the circle up a little bit, pick up Alpharetta and Milton. They seem to be more environmentally aware, and they're also wealthier and they can afford to put solar panels. The only reason I circled Atlanta is that I know that the Office of Sustainability has been looking at trying to figure out how do we get solar in the city. And I don't think there's a lot of solar scattered around. Well, wait a minute. I bet. Where's Fort Benning? It's just south of Columbus. The Army might have solar.
That's an interesting thought. What was your reasoning for that?
Because they just seem to be looking at opportunities to save money.
Okay.
And then Fort Stewart is over here near Savannah. Robins Air Force Base, it's south of Macon. I don't know why I thought that. It seems like something that the military would do. Because, for one thing, it could be a training exercise. You're out in the middle of the desert, you need to generate electricity. How are you going to do it? You bring a solar array with you. Mm-hmm. So they could actually use it as a training type exercise for their soldiers that are solar technicians. Mm-hmm. If you think about it, if we're deployed to the middle of the desert somewhere and you're either burning fuel and having generators or you throw up a solar array.
Sorry, you finished labeling them?
I am.
Okay. So, could you walk me through some of your reasoning for, I know you've spoken about the military bases, but for everything else that you labeled?
Well, Athens is a very progressive town. And the people there, I believe, are very strongly tied to the environment. Savannah, same thing. It seems more of a progressive town. You're along the coast. You probably got a lot more sun. And then again, Atlanta, I know that the city's looking for ways to get a solar initiative started, and then it just, you've got this band of wealth through Sandy Springs, Roswell, Alpharetta, and Milton, where people could actually afford to put solar arrays on their house.
Okay. And
I did not include Marietta because they just seem like they don't care.
Okay, cool. That's what I was about to ask. So more.
And I don't want to turn this discussion political, but
no, it's okay. It's whatever you feel
when
like.
You got the heart of the Republican Party, they don't really give a shit about the environment, and they'll just soon burn more coal, burn more natural gas to get their house down to 68 degrees. And Marietta doesn't strike me as having much concern about an environment at all.
Okay. So a little bit more
Even
broadly.
though there's money there, I don't think the people there.
Okay. More broadly than Marietta, like the whole of Cobb County, then what makes the people from Cobb County different from the other places that you labeled that you thought would have more adoption?
Well, Cobb County's not progressive at all.
Okay.
They don't care about the environment. I'm not sure Cobb County cares much about anything. Just look at all the new development that's going in and packing more and more people in and changing the zoning so they can pack more people. And they haven't found a development that they don't like. So
That's interesting. Okay.
I mean, we spend all that money to build a Brave Stadium. There's not a solar panel on it. It'll be interesting to see if they put solar panels on that 420-foot tall elevator shaft they're going to build out by the stadium. I don't know. They might because it's a German company. If it was an American company, I wouldn't bet on it at all.
Okay, so what about some people that you might know within the state of Georgia or some of your close friends? Do you know anyone who has solar on their roofs?
I know Laura Turner Seidel. She's got solar on her house.
Okay.
Yeah, it's actually she refers to her house as Eco Manor. So everything is energy friendly.
Wow, that's cool.
So, yeah.
Why do you think that she wanted that done like that?
Because she's a big advocate for the environment and for conservation.
Do you know if she had other reasons as well?
She's Ted Turner's daughter.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she is Ted Turner's daughter. She can afford to do it. I'm certain they didn't do it to save money. They don't have to worry about money. But she believes in environmental protection, and this is her way of making a statement. If you look at Google Maps with satellite image, you can see her entire roof is all solar.
Oh, wow. Her entire roof? Not even just like, wow.
Nope.
Okay, that's really cool. Interesting.
The office I work in Atlanta's got a roof of solar panels.
Does she live in Cobb or does she?
No, she lives in Fulton. She lives in Atlanta.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
In Cobb, I don't know anybody that has solar panels.
Yeah. Why do you think everyone else doesn't, or like the people that you know who don't have solar power on their roofs, why do you think that they don't have it?
They probably don't think it's cost effective. How long does it take? If it costs you $20,000 to put a solar array on your house to generate enough electricity, how long does it take you to gain it back? And as transient as a lot of people are, they may not be willing to put that investment to move because somebody else may look at a solar as a liability when they come to buy a house. So, and then that could be part of it. It's just the transitory nature of a lot of the people in Cobb County. They come to Cobb County for work, they get promoted, and they leave Cobb County.
Gotcha.
Why don't we have solar arrays in all the schools in the county? Because the county doesn't believe in solar. Yeah.
Is it then, you think commitment is part of it then? They don't want to put that commitment into...
They don't want to put the cash out.
Okay.
I don't think most people take the time to figure out or even think about what the cost is going to be per kilowatt of electricity and what's it going to cost and how many kilowatts to their house. And I just don't think people want to do the work.
Okay.
Maybe if there was some little form on the internet and you look at it and said, okay, my house is this big, I need this much, so this is my energy demand from, you get your bills to tell you how many kilowatts you're using, and this is what it's going to cost. I mean, if people could look at it and not do any homework, they might be more willing to at least think. Right now it's just too much work.
if it wasn't for spending money, or having to think about money, what do you think some of the non-economic barriers would be for some people here then to get solar for their roofs?
Non-economic barriers. Well, I guess so there's people like me that have trees and they realize that trees provide an energy benefit. That would be one thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, if somebody's going to give me solar panels, I'd put them on the roof and just use them to get my 4 hours of sun. But I don't know what would be precluding people from putting solar on their roof.
Yeah,
other than the money.
Yeah, and the commitment and the work, I guess, that they'd have, the effort that they'd put in.
To figure it out, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody just said, here's what you need, and here's what the cost is, you don't have to do anything, and you say, well, I can't afford it. Or they say, okay, and it's going to save you this much money, on an annual basis or whatever.
Oh.
Barley.
Do you think,
If the dog's bugging you, just tell him.
It's all good.
Barley, get over here.
Fly.
Just sit.
Is there, do you think there's a barrier with education or lack of knowledge? Because I've heard a lot of people say that, actually. Like, people just don't know.
No, I'm sure people don't know. I mean, they don't know about solar, they don't know about wind. They know about coal, they know about natural gas. And they certainly aren't teaching about renewable energy in school. Maybe they are in Colorado or Asheville or Denver, but they're certainly not in Cobb County.
Okay.
Hell, they had to put special stickers in the biology books, years ago.
Do you think people are resistant to change here?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. They're resistant to change.
Do you
That's
know?
why they don't like my garden.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look manicured. Well, wildflower gardens don't look manicured. So yes, they're resistant to change. They want my grass to look like everybody else's grass and be weed free and pesticide and pest free, and we can't figure out why people put things on their lawn that's so toxic. You have to have signs on it for 3 days to keep the dogs and the kids off of it.
Yeah. It's true.
So no, yeah, Cobb County is just stubborn, backward.
Do you know anyone from Georgia who has particular opinions about solar and specifically?
Well, Laura Turner Seidel would, because she's a big proponent of energy conservation, and her whole roof is solar.
Right.
Other than that, I don't know anybody else that has solar panels.
But do you know anyone else who would have opinions on solar panels?
Oh.
Even negative opinions about solar panels?
I'm sure some of my coworkers would have opinions.
Okay. Well, yeah.
But they don't live in Cobb County.
Oh, okay.
Actually, well, no, one of them does. You need more. What? You need more people to survey in Cobb County?
I'm just asking.
Yeah, I can think of a few people.
Okay, cool.
And they would probably glad to help if someone reached out to them.
Okay. Well, that's pretty much the interview since you finished the map.
Okay.
And answered
So
my
can you tell me
questions.
how
Yeah.
my information compares to other people?